Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Mindful Conversation with Dr. Dawood Vaid. And today we take up a beautiful word called peer learning. What is peer learning? Peer learning essentially means that you learn from each other. There is a peer feedback, there is a peer loop. So sometimes and very often it is true, you learn more from your friends in school, your classmates, your colleagues, than even your teachers and mentors and people around. This is what peer learning is. We'll take up a standard 10 questions on peer learning and hopefully we'll find some real beautiful solutions to what this entire term can be more effectively used. Question number 1. What role does peer learning play in fostering collaboration and critical thinking in students today? Well, the answer lies in the very question. The 4 C's of what you call an entire learning pattern or skills is communication, collaboration, critical and creative thinking. And all of these 4 come together when people come together. You can't communicate alone. I'm talking to a mobile phone, but at the end, I'm expecting your review, your feedback, your thumbs up. That is what peer loop is all about. So when a student does something and there is another one who corrects, improves on it and conveys a message, this is very, very beautiful, and that is today's age and time. It is far more relevant than we ever thought of it. So remember the 4 C's, and that is where peer learning comes together. How can teachers and facilitators create an environment that encourages students from learning from one another? Well, number 1, encourage communication. I love this idea. In school, we have a big problem to understand the difference between copying and cheating. When a student tries to copy, we say don't copy, and which we equate with don't cheat. And when the same child graduates and goes to the corporate world, we tell them go copy, learn from each other, talk to one another. And we are completely confused between these 2 words. The same way some faiths are confused between interaction and intermingling. The same way copying and cheating are not the same thing. Well, imagine if you tell your younger son, don't copy Chacha, don't copy the elder brother, and don't call me Mama, call me something else. No, they will copy. Humans have copied the dragonflies to make the helicopters and dolphins to make better sonars. We have always relied on learning from the nature, from copying, from mimicking, and it's an art form. So one thing the teachers should understand is increase and better your vocabulary. Copying is encouraged. Well, you are giving credit. If you do not give credit when you're copying, it's called plagiarizing. When you do not give references, when there are no bibliographies, when the indexes are completely devoid. And this is as an educator. And the second question is the most relevant for a teacher, is something you must talk to children, saying, look, you can work in pairs, you can work in teams, and please let them know cheating is not accepted. Copying with permission, with credit is a wonderful tool. Number 3, what are some of the most successful peer learning strategies in classroom? Well, one of the most routine peer learning strategy and which is so less optimized is TPS. Think, pair, share. It is wonderful to have pairs, companions, spouses we talk about, friendship, the roles we play, and TPS is all about this. So what you do is you allow them to make pairs. A lot of time we always say, no, we will make pairs for you. Why not make random pairs? What I mean by random pairs is say, okay, everybody, I'm giving you strategy. So what's your date of birth? 2, 7, 13, 20, it won't go beyond 31, right? Now you say the closest ones, odd ones come to one side, even ones come to one side, and then they may compare. Or you can have the month where they were born in, Jan, Feb, December, and they can be paired. It can be always the easy one, the name pair, or perhaps, the height pair. There's so many. Find your favorite color and pair it together. Give them TPS, it's a great strategy. I'll tell you few more strategies as I go ahead, but this is one thing you can use, very simple, very effective. With social media influencing interaction, how can students be more smarter online? Well, there are so many platforms that you can use, which I actually opened up some of the apps. I think there's some great apps that you have. I love social media, and for that matter, I want my children to know what social medias they can use. You can use Padlets, you can use Google Documents. We, Golden Sparrow, are an officially recognized partner for Google for Education, and Streams are very good in Google. You can use Trello, you can use Jamboards, and encourage students to use these apps so that they know that their work is validated. See, someone gives you a thumbs up on a Facebook or an Instagram, somebody likes it or puts a comment on a YouTube reel, you feel so validated. And this is exactly the same way our students thrive on others' appreciation. That is what we do. In one of the candle book, we have a great exercise, works better with the younger ones, where you put a small chair, make them king or queen or prince or princess of the day, and you tell others to say something nice about them. And sometimes I don't know my own strengths. There is a chapter called Strength Finder. There's a book called Strength Finder Point 2. What are my strengths? It could be listening. It could be communication. It could be empathizing. It could be a brilliant finisher. It could be very hygienic. It could be someone who's prompt. It could be better questioning. And suddenly students are learning from each other. That is what peer learning is about. It's a very, very essential, valid tool, especially in the time of digital world. You need to have social and peer learning together. Alright, number 5. Can peer learning truly address the diverse needs of the students? So true. You see, when you empathize a learner who is not smart enough with a learner who is very good, you are making both of them understand. One, to pick up a pace. One, to slow down for someone to go together. You know, it is called the Goldilocks condition. The perfect student doesn't exist. There is no Goldilocks in the class. Unfortunately, if they ever are Goldilocks, they are the ones neglected the most. And it is too hot or too cold. If it's too hot, the child is always angry, always irritating. That child gets maximum attention. And the too cold child, the introvert, the slow learner, the one who's behind, the one who doesn't raise the hand, are the ones we forget about, isn't it? So you need to use peer learning and complete the circle where you pair students over and over again, and it really is a very, very effective tool. Question number 6. What challenges do students face in peer learning environment, and how can mentors help them? Well, mentors need to upgrade their peer learning vocabulary. So I'll give you one more. Today, we spoke about TPS, we spoke about collaborative feedback. I'm giving you something called Jigsaw. What is Jigsaw peer learning? Jigsaw peer learning means every child brings a unique skill. Now, we use a lot of multiple intelligence theory in our textbooks, in our classroom learning. So you might be a rhythmic learner. Well, I can use rap and learn periodic table. I can use animals to talk about elephant whispers or about conservation. It's science, and I will use certain aspects. So a logical learner is paired with a rhythmic learner. Maths and music together. Wow, M&M. Or you have a kinesthetic learner who talks about the world of animals with a linguistic learner who uses a lot of words, and you pair them together. The jigsaw, you use the element from them. They use, it's like making a car. They use their skill. You know, the one who makes a tire doesn't know what a carburetor or a wiper works or a headlight works. That's an electrical part of the car. And you bring them together to make the best model of a Porsche or a Lamborghini. That is your class. That is what jigsaw puzzle of peer learning can do. Number 7, how can parents develop this in their homes? This is something very, very beautiful. You know, I always insist, today we had a board game day. Please buy board games, from Pictionary to Battleship to Scrabble to Funglish. There's so many card ones that you can use, and you can start using each other's strength. You know, Pictionary is just searching words and pictures. Maybe the younger one is smarter than the elder one in that. And as a parent, encourage sibling to learn from each other. There will always be sibling rivalry, right? From the Ambani brothers to the lions in the forest, there is a problem, but you still grow up together. They still love, they still bonding. Their weddings are still invited everyone together. Why? Because that is the way the world works. So remember I spoke about copying. Allow the younger ones to emulate the older ones. Allow the older ones to empathize with the younger one. Peer learning in families is very essential. Husbands, spouses, help each other. You know, maybe your spouse is very tired. Why don't you drive and go behind the wheel and everybody's alert? There was a small meme I saw, but maybe you're helping out. You know, for those who are not cooking, just Zomato Gold helps you out. But one day is a weekly off. One day you do the chores if someone is not coming in. If the maid's down, you pick up the bags and you say, okay, I'll take the trash out. Something that helps each other. If nothing, just buy a massage oil and massage your spouses. Your kids will love you. You know, the best gift a parent can give to the children is to love each other. Husband showing his love to his wife is far better father gift than buying those expensive drones and Nike shoes to your kids. Last two, question number 8, and then we jump to it. An example of where peer learning transformed the student's perspective. Oh my goodness, I've got so many of them. But I'll give you one very simple one called reciprocal questioning. So there was a peer learning problem where teachers would guide the process, but instead we flipped the classroom and they said, okay, why don't you ask question and the teachers will go and help you solve them. So it's like students, you make them into peers, we make them groups, and they were asking questions. And that time they asked the toughest questions. They're already solving the toughest questions. What's the problem? This is where you can help yourself. There's so many examples where there was a child who always felt left alone. The moment you made them into group of threes, three to tango, and the child started performing far better. There are cases when there is a single brother with three sisters, three elder sisters. Imagine, he's pampered, but he's playing all girlish game, and that's okay. He loves Barbies over Transformer toys. And somebody told him, why don't you pair him with a fellow group of parents? And he realized that it was not to be ashamed, but to be proud, because he knew more about the ideas, the hormones, estrogen, than any boy could. His strength became his biggest support, and that is his family support. So there's so many areas peer learning can be used. There is, as I said, reciprocal questioning is one of them. Learning circles. You can have very small, we call it the zero, the mezzanine. Everybody sits together and say, give me one reflective thing. I had a college lecture yesterday and I said, give me one word that you want 2025 to look like. I told him my word was fight and accomplishment. There are a lot of beautiful words I got, learning, spirituality, but I got 3 new words from teens, the Gen Zs, I never would have known. One, they said Loki. I said Loki as in the brother of Thor. He said no, Lo, L-O-W, Lo, K-E-Y, key, Loki. I said wow, crazy. I said, what is about crazy? And they said, they used the word, hey, this is crazy, this is amazing, this is awesome. And then I used a word called gatekeeping. Gatekeeping, some new vocabularies I am adding on, and this is what I'm asking you to do it in your circle. 9 and 10 is similar. How would you use SDGs for peer learning? SDG is all about looking outward. It is looking around what problems can you solve. 2030 is the action year when the SDGs come to an end. If you haven't been aware of it, ask us, talk to them. A simple goal like reducing inequality. What about the migrant laborers that are everywhere? You can see them on the streets from making FIFA stadiums. That is a peer learning. Give them a project, help them solve a project, and they will come back stronger. Goal number 13, climate action. You tell them what are the, read about Greta Thunberg and Julia Hill. Julia Hill is this young girl who climbed a tree and stayed there for 2 years without getting down for the tree not to be cut. Very similar to our own Chipko movement, where the tribals went and hugged the tree so the trees are not cutting down. Ask them, find a pair brave enough to go and do this with your trees in your society. You don't have to wait for the trees to be cut. Just hug them and put them in social media. When you do things in a group, when you do things in a peer, it makes such a big difference. My last question is, what is one advice you give to students? Sports. I think sports is the greatest platform for them to understand. Team sports, by that I mean not Djokovic, because they are great, but team sport is a great player. Just take the example of Rohit Sharma. He was the toast of the nation. Mumbai Charajja Rohit Sharma 6 months back when we won the T20. End of the year, when you lose, you're all alone, isn't it? And then that's where your team comes in. I say the 3F, faith, family, friends come in. The coach steps in, your vice captain steps in, your colleague steps in. Peer learning is that. When one child is being bullied and there is created a system of peer learning in your classroom, you have made the team strong enough to stand up to the bully. Remember, in Doordarshan days, we were small kids. We heard this poem over and over again. Ek chidiya, anek chidiya. And then there was this hunter who put the entire net, jal bichhata hai, and the chidiya, the bird, gets caught into it. Today, as I grow up, I realized that was the sparrow. And that is why what Golden Sparrow is saying is, together you are a strong team. Peer is the real learning system. I love to see you all come to academy. Look at the way peer learning happened, the way we play our board games and we do extempores and we watch movies. And that is the only way you can save the sparrows. Let the sparrows fly. Good luck. Thank you.